Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of ShareNet. My name is Ian. Today we have special guest Dina McInnes joining us live through Zoom. Thank you, Dina, for joining us. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
So, Dina, our topic for today is about meeting the team, the RCD team. So, I have just a few questions to start off. And would you please introduce yourselves to our viewers?
All right, my name is Dina McInnes, and I have been at RCD for 11 years. I started out as the skills development coordinator, so I was responsible for the English classes and life skills and public speaking. And in the last year and a half or so, my job title has changed to manager of organizational development. Still responsible for the public speaking class and attending some of the other classes. But mainly now it's about RCD and how to make, looking at that it makes up what makes up RCD and how to make it the best that we can be. So
Okay, very cool. So you would say, do you remember when you were initially hired? Like
I
how many
do. I
years?
remember it clearly. It's September 1st, 2011. And
Really? Wow.
it, I was so excited to get it, to have a job because I had been working for another organization for a long time and got laid off and went looking for another job. And I was told my education was old, and it was. So I went back to SFU and took another course there. And before the course ended, the LO, our executive director, phoned the instructor and said, got a couple of jobs available. Do you think you have anybody there who might be appropriate for this job? So he came to me and said, there's a couple of jobs available and they both got your name on them. And he said one of them had my name on it. I looked at them both and thought, which one's got my name? But I applied for both and I'm very happy I got the one I got.
Awesome. And that's how you started at RCD.
That is how I started at
Wow.
RCD.
So it's basically you went back to school
I
and
did
then
it
and then
102 years of
afterwards,
age.
that's how you got connected to RCD.
It is.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, please talk about what were the job duties you had initially? You mentioned a little bit about that. Let's expand on that. Initially, what was the job title that you had?
When I worked for RCD at the beginning,
Yes, at
I
RCD,
was
yes.
the skills development coordinator. So working directly, teaching a lot of the classes that are well considered skill development. So English classes, we have 3 levels of English classes here,
Mhm.
and public speaking class, which I still teach and enjoy. It's based on a Toastmasters format. And then what else did I teach? There was the life skills. So
Life skills, that's right.
we've teach 3 different um, levels of, at the time there were 3 different classes of life skills, and the
Right.
pandemic has changed that a little bit, and hopefully
Right.
we'll get back to them because I think each one of those classes had a really neat purpose to them all and were well attended. So
Very cool. Now, what is it like working here at RCD? So you've been here just
11
slightly more
years.
than 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Slightly more than 10 years. What is it like working here?
I love working here. I have to admit, when I started, I was very nervous because it is something that I've not done before. I was working with, used to working a lot with people with physical disabilities, and I have one myself. So it was much more familiar to me. Whereas here, we work with people with disabilities, and we get a wide variety of disability representation to go with the people that we serve. And it took me a while to figure that out and to feel like I knew something to be able to offer. And then I just caught on, and I love it. I've had to learn to listen differently than what I did in other areas of employment, and when I've learned that, I've heard a lot of good stories. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I have to say the population here, our participants here, because of the cross disability, it's like you have to know them individually to understand how to best support them. I think
Mhm.
that's the best part of RCD. Like new participant comes in, wow, we have to just explore and support together.
I like, I truly believe that everybody's got a story and has a right to tell their story one way or the other. And that's where I've loved that curiosity in me has not gone away just because of working with a different disability related population and people with disabilities that have come with unique challenges. So
Now, were there moments that you would consider them as rewarding?
there are lots of them, and but the one that stands out is years ago there was a couple of our participants who became friends. And one had a physical disability, and she asked the other lady if she could go get her some coffee, please. And the lady went off to get the coffee, and I noticed her, and she was standing and staring at an empty coffee pot. And I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "This person's name and coffee." I said, "Oh, and there's no coffee there." So I said, "Let's go to the front desk and ask for coffee, ask if they'll make some coffee." And it became this big process of going through the things that I often take for granted. And in the end, this person said, "Thank you, Dina." And I learned a lot from that, not just to do it for people, but to allow them to, if nothing else, be able to feel that process and to be a part of that process, because she was the one who was originally asked to to go and get their friend coffee.
Right, right. The process of finding their voice and expressing themselves in a direct way is it's something that may be difficult for our participants, and I'm glad that by coming to RCD they're able to learn a little bit of that.
And I'm big on being able to get a message across, even if it's just one word, one bit of body language, and something, a prompt, so that you can get your message across, because people have that right and we all have something to say.
Absolutely. Now, what about challenges? Were there times that you found that, oh my God, this work is just too challenging? Were there moments like that?
Well, a couple of things. One's more of a personal one, and then one I remember when somewhere in the first year of working for RCD, Viet, who used to work for us, was our supervisor, and he took me over to the activity room that we had with this big, big window in it. And I saw you teaching exercise class and throwing this big beach ball.
Oh,
And
okay.
people had to, you catch it A, and the second one B, and catching it along the way. And I remember Viet saying, "Come January, this job is yours. This class is yours." And I thought, I'm 102 years old, cannot catch a ball, and I'm going to get knocked out. I have to know by January. And I thought, I am in so much trouble. So I thank you for
Dina,
carrying on with that class. I truly, truly,
yeah,
truly appreciate
yes,
it.
I'm still teaching that class. I enjoy that class very much, and I'm supported by many
That way
volunteers
I
as
don't
well.
get knocked out, Ian.
It's gonna be fun. Beach ball and Dina. That's a good combination, is it not?
And then the other thing was just the challenge for me is I want to be a good worker and show up for work on time and all that kind of stuff. And I live a ways away from the office, and my mornings are a little bit crazy, but once I'm here at the office, I love being there. So it's a neat place to be.
Thank you, Dina. Now, on to the last question. Was there anything you would like to add?
I just again, when I started at RCD, I was nervous and I was inexperienced, and I am really glad that I got through that, because I really find it a rewarding place to be. I think that it's an organization worth supporting. And I think that all of what we do is done from our heart and with skill and experience. And I think we all come giving our best efforts, and I believe all of our participants do the same thing. And I just think it's I would love more people to know about us, to know what we do and how we do it, and hopefully that would increase our volunteers. It would increase sponsorships, that kind of thing, because it really is an organization that's worth supporting.
Yeah.
I think the independent living philosophy, that people have a right and a responsibility to make decisions in their day with the assistance of knowing the risks and the possible outcomes of those decisions. I think it's just worth supporting.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Been kind of fun.
So that's it for us, folks. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and this is the topic of meeting the team, and we will have this for the next several weeks or even months. And we got quite a bit of staff here that I would like to talk to and see how they got started. And we even got some new staff. Maybe we'll get to them eventually. Thank you all for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe. My name is Ian, and Dina, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.